Hi there, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are watching from in the world today, and welcome to My Brand Live. My name is Leela Singh, and I'm a personal and career growth coach, and I work with professionals in the technology industry who are looking to get promoted, to maximize your earnings potential, and ultimately to advance your career. How do I do that? By helping you to get clear on who you are, where you want to go, and what you want to be known for, and by showing up as the best version of yourself. And I'd like to welcome each and every one of you who is catching this live right now or on the replay. And if you're watching live, then do say hello in the comments and let me know where you're watching from. And if you're watching on a replay, then hashtag replay, and also let me know where you're watching from. And of course, do pop any questions in the comments for me. So before I kick off, I'd like to remind you, if you haven't already done so, to grab your copy of my personal brand playbook. And that is a book that I put together based on what I believe are the critical aspects, that the facets of personal branding that are essential to enabling you to accelerate your career. And this isn't about how you show up on social media and about your personal LinkedIn profile and number of followers. This is about how you show up in person. So do grab your copy if you haven't done so already. It will take you through those 6 facets, and also it enables you to work through a brand audit of where you are right now and identifying the gaps where you could be even better. And it gives you also some tools, some strategies, some best practices that you can take away and implement on immediately. So do check it out. And the link, Sharon will pop the link in the comments for you. And do click on that after the show and grab your copy. And also, as you may be aware, I've just recently launched my YouTube channel, and this includes all of the previous lives, but also, and most importantly, it includes all of the podcast interviews that I have created over the last 12 months. And there are some phenomenal interviews in there with leaders, inspiring, aspirational individuals from the technology space who have very kindly and openly shared their career journeys, their challenges, and what they have overcome in order to get to where they are right now. And some great learners, some great insights shared. So please do head over after this live today, which will be about 30 minutes, and subscribe to the channel and check out some of the interviews in there. Okay, so today, first of all, I want to kick off by talking about what I believe personal branding is. And for me, it's all about human potential. It's about others' perceptions of you and your reputation amongst your peers, your colleagues, and in your industry. And it's what people say about you when you're not in the room. And most importantly, I believe it's the feeling that others experience when they meet you, when they work with you, and when they hear your name mentioned, because those feelings create lasting perceptions. And why is this important? You might be thinking, well, here's the thing. It's critical to understanding who you are and what you stand for and what you want to be known for, both personally and professionally. And it's integral to all stages of your career. Something I get asked very often is, does it really matter if I'm, 10, 20 years into my career? Absolutely, yes, it does. So it's relevant if you're starting out, if you're established, if you're looking to change role or pivot to something completely new. Maybe you want to accelerate your career, or perhaps enhance your visibility, or perhaps simply be a more effective leader, or create an industry profile. Whatever it is for you, it is important to have a strong personal brand. Okay, so today's topic is your vision for 2022 and finishing this year strong. So we have 1 month left, or just under that now. What about 29, 30 days left? And I was giving some thought to what I could talk about today. And I think what I want to share with you is an approach that you can take to finishing the year strong and also having clarity as to where you're headed into 2022. So grab a pen and paper so you can take some notes on this, because I'm going to share an approach with you and some questions for you to work through and answer for yourself. However, I would like you to take the time to answer these rather than try and scribble them all down right now. But I want you to start thinking about it right now. during this episode. And then go away and just give it some thought and mull it over. And this will help you to finish this year strong, because you'll have a really clear plan of where you want to go next year. And you can start to plan out those actions, reach out to people. So when you start, the first week of January, you hit the ground running. Okay, so what I'd like you to do is, first of all, consider, how are you feeling about this year and how this year has gone for you? So the year 2021, how has that been for you on a scale of 0 to 10, where 0 has been, it's been utterly crap, and 10 is it's been absolutely phenomenal. And this can be as an overall picture. It can be specific to your career if you choose to focus on that right now, or it can be for your career and your life at large. So give that some thought and score yourself on that and think, okay, how good has this year been for me on a scale of 0 to 10? Okay, then I'd like you to consider this. In which areas of your life do you feel that you have moved forward this year? Okay, and here's the thing. With this, when I talk about areas of your life, I'm talking about things such as your career, your relationship. Now, this can be your intimate relationship with your partner. It can be relationship with your children, with your friends. Then think about your social life, your finances. How have you moved forward in each of these areas, if at all? Which ones have you moved forward in? And then also, what are your interests, your passions? Where's your scoring on that? Have you had the chance to explore those interests and those passions? And what about personal growth? Have you invested time in that? Maybe you haven't had the time to do so, or you've not done as much as you would like to have done. So again, give that some thought. And then you have health and fitness. It's another big area that most of us, particularly coming into the new year, we start making plans of how we want to be fitter, have more energy, lose weight, etc., etc. So again, where are you on the scale with your health and fitness? Then think about productivity. So, for example, your work-life balance. How efficient have you been? How do you get things done? What's your start and end to the day look like? Do you feel like you're constantly working in overwhelm or operating in overwhelm? Or do you approach life with a sense of calm, feeling that you're in control? So these are the kind of questions that you want to be asking yourself to understand and identify where you're at right now. And then think about clarity in your life. Have you got clarity in your life? Do you know where you're headed? Or maybe do you find yourself drifting day to day, just doing the same thing over and over and getting the same results, which, as you may have heard the quote from Einstein, is a definition of insanity. So where are you at on that scale? Do you have clarity on where you're headed? Do you know what it is you want in your life? Are you moving towards those goals? Or have you actually not yet identified those goals and gotten that clarity? Then think about your motivation, your motivational levels. What are they like at the moment? How have they been during this year? Have they been up and down and fluctuated, which is typically common for most of us? Or has it been really low? And if so, you want to explore that. Why is that? What needs to change for you to up your game, to have more drive and more focus to get to where you want to be? And then your confidence. So maybe you want to be more confident in the workplace or in your day-to-day life, in your relationship. Where's your mindset at? How do you talk to yourself? Do you put yourself down a lot, or do you encourage yourself and celebrate your wins? So those are just some areas of your life to consider. And to then think, okay, where am I in each of these areas? Have I moved forward during this year? So work through those again in your own time, because I'm going to go through this quite quickly today, but take some notes and then work back through this, because this is a really powerful process. And ask yourself, okay, where am I in these different areas of my life? And am I where I want to be? Have I made progress at all or not? So then think about which of those areas have you, or do you feel that you stayed stuck, or you've remained stagnant, so nothing has changed, nothing has moved forward, and actually you might be feeling frustrated. Because here's the thing, it may be that you haven't moved forward, but you're okay with where you're at. So it could be, for example, you've got a great relationship with your children and your partner, and everything in that area of your life is fantastic. So actually, I'm good with that. I don't need for anything to move forward or to create a massive shift. That's all good. And that is okay. So it's about understanding the areas where you do feel stuck or have remained stagnant that are frustrating you, that you're not happy with. So make a note of those and identify those areas. Then what I'd invite you to do before we move forward with those things is to now consider, if we were to meet in a year's time, let's say at a meeting, at a conference, on a Zoom call, having a coffee, wherever it might be, and we sat down to have a conversation. Imagine that conversation that you are having with me. If I was to ask you, how has the last 12 months looked for you? I'd like you to take some time to really consider and to visualize, what would you be saying to me? How would you be talking about the last year? So about your year 2022 and how that has gone for you. And then imagine in 12 months' time, when we're having this conversation, what will you be telling me has changed? What has shifted for you? What new realizations and insights have you had? Where have you moved forward in your life? Where have you had some huge successes and wins? And then think about, what will you be telling me about that has remained the same? So things that perhaps haven't changed at all. What would those things be? So take some time, find some quiet space. Now, this could be maybe when you're driving on your own in the car and you've got some time to yourself. It may be just sitting down when you're meditating in the morning or the evening, or you can find some quiet time just for 5 minutes to give this some real thought and really visualize that conversation you'll be having with me in 12 months' time. And then I'm just thinking other examples of this might be when you're having a bath or a shower, going for a walk, exercising, going for a run, or at the gym, and just take 5 or 10 minutes to visualize what that conversation will be like for you. So thinking about, what will you be sharing with me? How will your last year have you looked? What will have changed for you? And what will still be the same? And there is no right or wrong answer here, because remember, I said there are things that may stay the same, but that's okay. Not everything has to change all of the time. And then consider, how will you feel about where you're at that point in time? So imagine those great wins that you've had, the successes, and where you're at in those different areas of your life that are really important for you. And think to yourself, okay, where will I be on a scale of 0 to 10 at that point? And contrast that with the score you gave yourself at the start of this today, when I asked you, where are you at on a scale of 0 to 10 right now for the year 2021? Because then I want you to contrast it with what that could look like once you visualize actually where it is you want to be. And think about what that will look like and what you'll be saying to yourself when you've progressed, when you've moved forward. Now, the reason I'm asking you to do all of this is because it's a very powerful tool for you to start to really get clear on where it is you're heading and where you want to be. And oftentimes we don't take the time to stop and really give this some thought and think about where it is we're heading. We kind of just get into that cycle, that treadmill of life, and we just do. And believe me, I'm guilty of that. I've been there. And sometimes I find myself back on it. So we're all guilty of doing it, but actually it isn't the most productive or fruitful way to live, because we want to be growing, evolving, moving forward. And this isn't only about your career, your job. It can also be about your personal life. So it could be your health, your relationships, your friendships, your social life, maybe some passions that you have outside of work. It could be about your health. And even regarding your health, you've got your physical, your spiritual, your emotional, and your mental health. So you've got all those different aspects to consider. So what is it for you that is really important where you want to be in 12 months' time? What would you love to be sharing with me in a conversation in 12 months' time about what has changed from today when we have that conversation on the 2nd of December, 2022? So give that some thought and write it all down. Write down everything that is coming up for you. And then what I'd like you to do is to then give some thought to when you look at where you want to be in 12 months' time and what you want your life to look like, what are the 3 areas that are your top priorities when it comes to creating change? So what are the 3 things that are most important for you to create change, to create shifts, to be able to have moved forward? And as a recap, I just want to share with you again some different areas to give you some thought processes heading in that direction. So it could be around your career, your relationship with your partner, or your friendship circle, your family, your children, and that relationship and dynamic. Maybe you want that to improve. Perhaps it's around your finances. Maybe it's your interests and your passions. It could be personal growth and working on yourself. It might be health and fitness. And again, just to reiterate, when it comes to health, we're talking about all the different facets of health. So you've got your physical, your emotional, your mental health, your spiritual health. So which of those are important? Break it down and be specific. Think about your productivity levels, your work-life balance, for example. Do you want that to have changed or to have improved in 12 months' time? And also having clarity on what it is you want and where you're headed. Maybe that's something that's important to you and that you would like to see improve, so you have more, you're living more intentionally, you have more sense of direction, where you're heading and what it is you're doing to get you there. Maybe it's your motivation. Perhaps your motivation's been really low this year and you want to up the game with that, so you're more focused, you're more driven to move yourself forward. Might be your confidence, your mindset, and around the way that you see yourself and the way that you show up for others, whether it's in your personal or your professional life. So think about all of those areas and where you would like to be when it comes to those different areas of your life, and which of them are your top 3 most important goals, your top priorities, where you want to create that change. And what I'd then invite you to do is carry out a little bit of analysis, because this is just about building your self-awareness and understanding why you are where you are today. And by the way, there's no right or wrong here at all. It's just the process we're going through here is just to create an awareness and an understanding of where you're at right now, how happy you are, how satisfied and fulfilled you are, and actually what you feel you're missing out on and what you would like to have and where you would like to be in 12 months' time. So as an example, if you ask yourself, what, if anything, let me start again. What is the number 1 reason that I'm not where I would like to be in this area of my life? So let's take an example of health and fitness. So when I talk about health and fitness right now, I'm going to use that in the context of physical health and fitness. So if you ask yourself, what's the number 1 reason you're not where you want to be? So maybe you're not the weight that you want to be, you don't have the energy levels you would like to have, you don't feel that you're as fit as you could be, whatever it may be for you. Okay, so what is the number 1 reason for you? And be honest with yourself. And then ask yourself, what, if anything, have you done to move forward in this area or to improve? Perhaps it's a case of, what did you try that didn't work? So again, give some thought to this, because it will help you to really understand, okay, and this isn't about beating yourself up at all. Again, it's about creating a level of awareness of where you're at right now and what you have done and what you haven't done, so that you can create a plan moving into next year. So what's the number 1 reason that you're not where you want to be in a particular area of your life? What is it you have done to move forward, to improve in that area of your life? And what did you try that maybe hasn't worked? Then ask yourself, who can you reach out to for help, for support, for guidance? So again, if we use the health scenario, it could be that I could reach out and get a personal trainer or an accountability partner, or just to start to eat better or to sleep better, or whatever it might be. So who can help me with those things, right? I might need to speak to someone who's a nutritionist, or do food testing, or intolerance, or whatever. There's so many things I could do, right? So for you, what is it that you need to do? And who are the people that you could bring in to help you, to support you? because oftentimes having that accountability with someone, whether it is a friend, a partner, someone at work, a colleague, it could be a mentor, it could be a coach, whoever it is for you, whose help and support can you draw upon to keep you accountable and to help you to move forward, to be your cheerleader and to encourage you and keep you accountable to yourself. So give that some thought as well, because oftentimes when we try to do things on our own, that's where we might find we will struggle. And then once you've gone through all of these questions and this process that I've walked through today, what I'd like you to do is then to think about, what are the top 3 actions that you need to take in each of those 3 priority areas that you've identified that will help you to move forward. Okay, and that is the beginning of your plan. So when I talk about creating your vision for 2022 and finishing the year strong, there are a number of facets to that process. This is just the start. So I'll talk about a follow-up to this in the next week or 2 when I do my next live. But I'd like you to start with this, because when I talk about finishing the year strong, it's about not necessarily about getting huge results before the end of the year. It's more about getting really clear on where you're at right now on a scale of 0 to 10, how happy you are with that, and actually where's the gap there. So where, if you gave yourself, let's say, a 7 out of 10, what's in the gap that would need to have gotten you to a 10? So I can't do my maths. From a 7 to a 10. So what's in the gap there with a 3? What would need to have happened for you to have gotten there to be a 10 out of 10 right now? And oftentimes we struggle because there's so much going on. We can be so overwhelmed and have to be juggling so many things that we almost don't have the capacity to stop and take a step back and look at, where is it we're heading? Where is it we want to be? What are our goals? What do they look like? Why? All of that stuff that's really, really important to help you move forward. So that's why I've invited you to take some time to visualize the conversation that you'll be having with me over a cup of coffee in 12 months' time on the 2nd of December 2022, and all the amazing things that you will be telling me about how your last year has gone and what you've achieved, what you've accomplished, how far you've moved forward in the different areas of your life. So once you start to visualize that, think about what will have changed for you. What will still be the same? And are you okay with that? Because as I said, not everything has to change. Some things might be going really well right now and you're happy with that. So that there is no reason that needs to change. But what would you love to be saying to me in 12 months' time? And just going back to the steps, the process that you want to follow, I'm just going to summarize this back for you. So how are you feeling about this year on a scale of 0 to 10, where 10 is phenomenal and 0 is pretty crap? And identifying, this is really important, by the way, is to identify the areas in which you have moved forward. Because oftentimes we beat ourselves up. We naturally focus on what we haven't done or what hasn't gone well. But before we even start to look at what could be better, I invite you to look at your wins. So in which areas of your life have you moved forward? Have you made some progress? Have you created some change? Again, thinking about whether it's health, career, personal life, all of those different areas. So giving some thought to that. And then where have you stayed stuck or stagnant? In other words, places where you're at, where you're not happy with. And then we want to explore that. So the analysis that I walked you through is understanding what's the number one reason that you're not where you want to be. And it could be that life happens and you just didn't get a chance to commit to what you knew you wanted to do. That's okay. This isn't about a beating you up exercise. This is about an understanding and a level of awareness so that you can end the year strong by getting really clear about where you're headed and what it is you need to do and the things that are holding you back right now, that have held you back this year, and therefore what help and support you can gain in order to be able to move yourself forward next year. So that when we have that conversation in 12 months' time, you're sharing with me how phenomenal your life has been, over the last 12 months and the success and the wins that you've had. Okay, so I do hope this resonates with you and it's useful for you. If you do have any questions, then do please reach out to me. I'd be more than happy to have a conversation, or drop your questions in the comments and I will come back to you, or tag me in, of course, to any of your comments. So again, we only have 29 days or so for the remainder of the year. A big part of that is taken up with holidays, family, celebrations, eating, drinking, and being merry. And that's all good. What you don't want to be doing is landing back at work, let's say on the 3rd of January, I can't remember the day we're back, 3rd or 4th of January, and just going back into overwhelm or jumping back on the treadmill. And then in 12 months' time, if I do another live on this day, at this time, or we're having a conversation about where you're at and how the last 12 months has looked, nothing has changed, because it's a whole year of your life that will have gone. And that's why this is so, so important. So I do invite you to take some time to sit down, pen and paper, and answer these questions. Write down as much as you can to each of the questions that I've shared with you today, to get some clarity about how far you have come this year. Because trust me, most of us don't ever look at that. I do it now because I have mentors that ask me the questions and I have to take the time to look. And it will always surprise me when I take a step back and reflect on the year and all the things I have accomplished, the areas that I've moved forward in. And why this is really important for us is because we so often only focus on the things we didn't do, the things that haven't worked, where we've not made progress, and we beat ourselves up. And that isn't healthy or of any benefit to anybody. So start by really taking some time to look at your successes, your wins, and do share them with me. Share them in the comments or drop me a message. I'd love to hear. And then think about where you're still feeling stuck and stagnant, and ask yourself, do you want to be in the same position next year? So if there's something where you, like, let's say health, where you're not in a good place right now and you know you could do so much better and you're feeling frustrated with it, do you want to be feeling exactly the same in 12 months' time? And I'm guessing the answer is probably not. Therefore, let's work through these questions and see where you're at and where you could be in 12 months' time. If you get that focus, you get that support, and you know what actions you need to take. And as an aside, I would also like to mention that the way that I work with my clients is usually over a long term, so 6 to 12 months, where we go really, really deep, and my clients experience long and really deep lasting transformation. However, I also recognize that not everyone is in a position right now to be able to do that. So what I would love to invite you to consider is a shorter term, 3-month fast track approach to getting some clarity on where you want to be and helping you to gain that clarity and the actions you need to take, and dealing with some of maybe the mindset issues that are holding you back. Now, if that is something that may be of interest to you, and as I said, it's a shorter term program, which is not something I would normally offer, because I like to do a lot more deep, longer term transformational work that gets much, much more permanent and long-term success. However, as I said, it's not always right for you right now if you're not in a position where you've got the time or the money to invest in that. So I'm actually looking to work with a handful of people over the next 3 months to invite you to work with me in getting some clarity on where you're at, overcoming the limitations that we always tend to set on ourselves or impose on ourselves that hold us back, and create a plan, a strategy, and letting go of the BS, as I call it, that holds us back, so that you can have a really successful 2022. If that is of interest to you, then do reach out, drop me a message, and we can have a conversation. In the meantime, I wish you a fantastic rest of the week. Again, do grab your copy of the playbook if you haven't already done so. The link is in the comments. And also, please do go ahead and subscribe to my YouTube channel, which has other episodes of these lives, as well as the series of my podcasts over the last 12 months with incredible inspirational leaders in the tech industry, and some phenomenal insights and shares that they've kindly opened up to me within the podcast interviews. So do check that out as well. And otherwise, I look forward to seeing you same time, same place next week. So until next time, remember to build your influence, to make an impact, and be remembered for the right reasons by showing up as the best version of you. Do hope this has been useful for you. Please do take the time, as I said, to do some of this work, because it is really, really powerful and will really set you up for the new year. I look forward to seeing you next week. Until then, take care, and I will see you soon.